This will be an open meeting, and notice has been given to the public at least 24 hours prior to the meetings, and by forwarding the complete agenda to the Oconto County Reporter and all other news media who have requested the same. Copies of the complete agenda were available for inspection at the office of the city administrator. We're going to make a little change to the agenda. I'm not going to make the whole Bosted family sit here for an hour listening to everybody, so we're going to move on to correspondence, where we're going to recognize John Bosted tonight. John, if you could come up here, please. That's why you were so well liked. That's why everybody's here.
Thank you.
So, John, we're presenting you this plaque for your 14 years of very, very dedicated service to the city of Oconto. You're going to be missed greatly. I hope you stop in and see us once in a while.
I will.
I can't stop at Westabart's every day to see you.
That's true.
But had a lot of people give me lots of praise on all your service and everything you've done. So
Thank you.
I'm going to keep this short because I'll break down with the way.
Okay.
John,
Thank you.
enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
And please stop in. Okay? Thank you.
Just wanna say you and you people that worked for me all the years. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, it is 6:08. We are going to go with the public hearing before the council with the following agenda. Petition for zoning amendment for AGC Property Holdings LLC to amend the zoning for parcel number 265-281-301-11277 Charles Street from highway commercial and rural development to highway commercial. All parties for and against will be heard at this time. Yes, sir. State your name and...
Where do you want me?
You're fine. You're fine there.
Steve Beadham with Beerbecker, representing the Cherry family. And we're asking for this zoning because they want to do some boat storage and a place for people to come, store their boat, and also stay the night. So we have a little project we want to do in there where they're going to do some rentals. So people that come to enjoy all the fishing that we have up here, they can stop there, stay for a week, a month, or 2 weeks, whatever they want to do. Store their boat, a place to plug in, an inside garage for this for the facility they're going to have. So it'll be a small unit with a attached garage and a living quarters, and that's what the plan is for the acreage.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, all parties for and against will be heard at this time. Okay. Third time, all parties for and against will be heard at this time. Okay. If not, could I get a motion to close the hearing, please?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
We need roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to close the hearing. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, immediately following, public hearing before the council with the following agenda. Approval of an ordinance permitting shipping containers in general industrial IG and light industrial IL zoning districts with the requirements of up to 2 per property must meet required setbacks and must be solid color, matching the main building facade, and elimination of the requirement of having wheels. Okay, we'll open this hearing with all parties for and against will be heard at this time. Okay. Second time, all parties for and against will be heard at this time. Third time, all parties for and against will be heard at this time. There's no one to speak. Could I have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to close the hearing. Okay. Call this meeting of the regular council to order. Roll call. Go too fast.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
Mayor Cliff Martin,
Here.
Daryl Anderson, Kim Bronikowski, Ron Dahl,
Here.
Dee Donlevy is excused, Bob Lebrecht,
Here.
Casey Soul,
Here.
Lori Stenstrup, Dan Zeller,
Here.
Attorney Calvert.
Okay, moving on to number 3, invocation and pledge of allegiance by Alderperson Bob Lebrecht.
Lord, give us the strength and wisdom to make our decisions tonight the best they can be for the citizens of the city of Oconto, so we may prosper and grow as one in our community. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to number 4. Yes.
For the approval of the agenda, I did a copy and paste for the consent agenda, so item 8C, you did not discuss that yet, so we're going to bypass that one when the mayor reads the consent agenda.
Okay. Number 4, could I have a motion to approve the agenda as stated, with the exception of 8C not being read?
I'll make that motion.
Ron? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the agenda as stated. Moving on to number 5, approval of council minutes from 4/15/2025. Is there any changes or additions? Okay, if not, could I entertain a motion to approve the council minutes from 4/15/2025?
I'll make
Bob?
that motion, or second, or whatever.
Bob motion, Lori second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the council minutes from 4/15/2025. Okay, we're going to move on to number 7, public input. Second time, public input. Third time, public input. Okay. No public input. We're going to move on to approval of consent agenda. I will be reading them all, and then we'll make one motion on them. Approval of temporary alcohol beverage license application from Oconto County Veterans Memorial Corp. for Oconto County Veterans Memorial Day Picnic on May 26, 2025. Approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance to the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, wage and personnel committee composition. D, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, appointment, reappointment dates. E, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, Industrial Development Commission termination. 8F, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, Building and Property Inspection Committee. 8G, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, creation of an old hospital ad hoc committee. Could I have a motion on
I'll
these?
make the motion to approve the consent agenda A through G with the exception of C.
Kim, second. Roll call?
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Branakowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq. Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move on to number 9. Discussion, action, recommendation on the following old unfinished business. Recommendation from council as a whole and planning commission. Approval of an ordinance permitting shipping containers in general industrial IG and light industrial IL zoning districts with the requirements of up to 2 per property, must meet the required setbacks and must be solid color matching the main building facade, and elimination of the requirements of having wheels. Need a motion?
So actually,
Do you
that
want me to
was-
read the other?
Yeah, I want to read the motion that actually came out of that joint meeting.
Okay. Oh. Motion to not allow shipping containers in all zonings, including general industrial and light industrial. And motion to allow 60 days for the removal of the shipping containers.
Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Ron made it. Casey seconded.
Okay.
Roll call?
Kim Branakowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Okay, we move on to 10, discussion, action, recommendation on the following new business. Discussion, approval of mayor's recommendation for appointees and reappointments to committees, commissions, and boards. I'm going to read through all of them, and if somebody wants to challenge one, we'll address that after I read through them.
And then we'll do a motion at the end, kind of like the same as we do a consent agenda, rather than making, whatever it is, 22 motions here tonight.
Okay, we'll start off with appointment of Riley Soul to the Police and Fire Commission for a 5-year term ending May 1st, 2030. Reappointment of Janine Hornblatt to the Technology Committee for a 1-year term ending May 2026. Reappointment of David Budkowski to the Technology Committee for a 1-year term ending May 1st, 2026. Appointment of Ken Hayes to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Sherry Grohl to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Appointment of Nancy Gearing as an alternate member to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Appointment of Mike Warner as an alternate member to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Appointment of John Souza to the Board of Public Works for a 1-year term ending May 1st, 2026. Reappointment of Rick Schultz to the Board of Public Works for a 1-year term ending May 1st, 2026. Reappointment of Gene Young to the Board of Public Works for a 1-year term ending May 1st, 2026. Reappointment of Robert Bake to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Appointment of Riley Soul to the Planning Commission for a partial 3-year term ending May 1st, 2026. Reappointment of Nancy Gearing-Gralewski to the Board of Review for a 5-year term ending May 1st, 2030. Appointment of Violet Hornick to the Parks and Recreation Committee for a partial 5-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Diane Motive to the Park and Rec Committee for a 5-year term ending May 1st, 2030. Reappointment of Todd Trepanier to the Harbor Commission for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Wendy Spice to the Farnsworth Public Library Board for a 3-year term ending July 1st, 2028. Appointment of Jolene Zahn to the Farnsworth Public Library Board for a 3-year term ending July 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Susan Seidel to the Forestry Committee for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Tom Sassy to the Forestry Committee for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. reappointment of Mike Warner to the Ethics Board for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Reappointment of Gene Young to the Ethics Board for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. Any opposes, any comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve all.
I'll make the motion to approve them all.
I'll second it.
Darrell second. Roll call.
Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq. Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski.
Okay, we're going to move on to 10B, recommendation from Planning Commission, approval of amendment to an ordinance, sexual offender residency restrictions and appeal from request from the police chief, Dufek. You all had that in your packet?
Yep. Yep, they approved the appeal form and then those 3 circled changes, highlighted changes.
Could I have a motion on 10B?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Kim did.
I'm sorry, missed it. Roll call.
Bob LeBrecq. Casey Soul. Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Moving on to 10C. Recommendation from Planning Commission, approval of zoning amendment from AGC Property Holdings LLC to amend the zoning for parcel number 265-281-301-11277 Charles Street from Highway Commercial CH and Rural Development RD to Highway Commercial CH. I have a motion on C,
I'll make
please.
a motion to approve that change. I'll second that.
Casey second. Roll call.
Bob LeBrecq. Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Okay, 10D, recommendation from Finance Committee, approval of accounts payable for the month of April 2025 in the amount of $338,187.05. Payroll for the month of April 2025 in the amount of $171,378.42, and other financial reports as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Dan made the motion.
I'll second.
Darrell second. Roll call.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Caught.
Oh, Bob. Okay, 10E, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of road maintenance quotes from Farner Asphalt Sealers. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So that's just for crack filling on various streets. The streets are listed, and I believe the third page down. We did take out Superior Ave. That's kind of beyond crack filling. You're wasting your money by crack filling that road. It's more maintenance is needed than just crack filling. So we took that one out, which took it basically from $65,000 down to $55,022. And again, we haven't done any crack filling in a couple of years, and it's much needed in multiple areas throughout the city. So that would be my recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
Kim made the motion.
I'll second. Lori?
Lori second. Roll call.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul.
Okay, moving to 10F, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the motor vehicle and traffic ordinance and the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, change regarding parking restrictions on Spies Road and Park Lane. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So the recommendation from Board of Public Works would be no parking on the north side of the street on Spies Road from County Y to Park Lane, and then Park Lane from Spies Road to County Y on the west side. So If you're not familiar where Park Lane is, Park Lane runs north and south along the High Seas Marina area. Why that was never Spies Road all the way around, I
Yeah.
don't know. So if you're not familiar with Park Lane, that's Park Lane. So there would be parking on the south side. The reason that we have to have no parking on one side is that the road's just not wide enough to handle parking on both sides of the road. So we limit the parking just on the south and no parking on the north. Obviously, once we get the north side and the back half of the trail over by the truck pull areas, once that gets fully vegetated, then that area will be open for parking when we get that rush of walleye fishermen in. It's possibly an area in the future, maybe we want to gravel that area as more of a defined parking area. But obviously we can't have parking on both sides of the road. And we did have to narrow that road. We shifted it multiple times just because of wetland impact. Originally, wetland impact was gonna cost us about $120,000. We got that down to about $48,000 when we did start the project. So that's our recommendation.
I have a motion on 10F.
I'll make the motion on the recommendation from Public Works on the changing of parking on Spice Road and Park Lane.
I'll second it.
Darrell, second. Roll call.
Dan Zeller,
Yes.
Daryl Anderson,
Yes.
Kim Bronikowski, Ron Dahl,
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq, Casey Soul, Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Okay, 10G. Recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of street closure requests from the garage for music and celebration of life on May 25th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yes, Jeremy?
Yeah, just so you know, you're aware, that closure would be on Millage from Peacock to Main Street. So a typical road closure that they have. Typically, if it's an ongoing event, we just approve them as department head because they're ongoing events. This being a brand new event, we typically would take it to Board of Public Works and then council so they're aware of it.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Kim made the motion.
Second.
Is that Casey?
Is that you, Casey?
Yes.
Roll call.
Daryl Anderson,
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski,
Aye.
Ron Dahl,
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq,
Aye.
Casey Soul, Lori Stenstrup,
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
10H, recommendation from Wage and Personnel Committee, approval of reorganization of the Parks and Recreation Department. Jeremy?
No, just what we talked
Everybody
about in wage and
was-
personnel, yeah. Do we
Everybody
need to
was in
make,
that closed session.
do we need to make specific motion to approve his wage increase?
I
and-
think as per that sheet, we all
I know, but don't you think it should be in a motion? I think it should be.
yeah.
Okay, so it would be a motion to approve the 15,000 and motion to approve Gavin's wage increase as well. Which,
Was approved by
what was,
Finance.
do you remember that amount, just so we can put it in the motion? 25 until he gets his
Until he gets the
CDL.
CDL, which then we would move to the labor position, then it'd be 26.41.
Okay. Okay.
Could I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Darrell? Rondell, second. Roll call.
Kim Bronikowski.
Aye.
Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq. Casey Soul. Lori Stenstrup.
I need to make sure on the motion if I have to abstain, is it the one?
Yeah, you should abstain. Oops.
Sorry, I just need a clarification.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Dan Zeller.
Yes.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10I, recommendation from Harbor Commission, approval of bid for all-out asphalt for City Docks parking lot in the amount of $26,142. Jeremy?
So just to let everybody know, Harbor did approve that, they're a separate entity. We did blacktop. Obviously, the Perch Derby is coming up this weekend. and we need that parking lot blacktop before this weekend. Tom from All Out Asphalt obviously could fit us in this week, so they prepped it on Friday and they blacktopped on Monday. So we finished it up yesterday, and then weather permitting, which doesn't look real great tomorrow, we're hoping to have that parking lot striped on Thursday, and then it'll be open for the Perch Derby this weekend so that we can have increased parking out in that area. But the work is complete. We had no choice to make sure that got done. But obviously, they've got the funds within the harbor to do that.
Make the motion to approve.
Motion by Dan,
Second.
Casey second. Yes, Jeremy?
Just so you know that amount, 26,142, it is less because they included striping on their bid, so that the striping lowered the cost by like $500 to $600 because we're going to be doing the striping ourselves. So.
Good, thank you. Okay,
Daryl
Roll
Anderson? Sorry.
go ahead, roll call.
Daryl Anderson?
Aye.
Kim Branakowski? Ron Dahl?
Aye.
Bob LeBrock?
Aye.
Casey Soul?
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup? Dan Zeller?
Aye.
Moving on to number 11 for Bob's motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Daryl second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion,
I was being a nice guy, sharing with Jeremy.
You did. I got
You're gonna need a really cold drink to ice your throat tonight. I just